Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Beyond Influence. I am Kwame. I'm here with my co-host Scott, and we are here with a very special guest. You know what? I'm not going to do a current intro. I'm going to do I'm a big believer in self-fulfilling prophecy and manifestation. So I'm going to give you your intro 5 years from now, okay?
Okay.
So today we have with us a recording artist who at one point was on The Voice, but just recently finished her tour with Adele. She's a multi-platinum recording artist, currently sitting in the top 10 in Spotify listens globally. We have Dani Stacy.
I love that. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thanks for joining us, Dani. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. It's with the last bit of summer in the Pacific Northwest. We got some sunshine. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. I'm going to take the day and spoil her. And yeah, it's great. I had no complaints.
Dani, so we have an interesting question we like to ask to start off the day. You're obviously a very creatively minded person. You have a lot of color and vibrance on your page. Do you like shoes at all?
I love shoes.
You love shoes. Okay. So our question of the day is, as you can see, look, I've got a couple of kicks in my backdrop. Always do. Scott's been trying to incorporate some of this as well. I'd love to know, look, either with your fit or with your personality for the day, what kind of shoes are you rocking?
So I'm not wearing any shoes right now, but I love Crocs and I love like boots or slip-ons. I take my shoes off as often as possible, but I do have a lot of them. I
love that this is the third recording in a row where Crocs have been brought up. I just freaking, I love it so much.
They're the best.
I was like, Kwame's expecting like, oh, these awesome sneakers, whatever. It's like we had Crocs, Hey Dudes, and like every form of dad shoe. And I just like, I'm here for it. I love it.
Basically in the last three conversations, we've realized that I'm basically already prepped to be a dad influencer because all the brands that I work with are basically dad slip-on shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just get a quick shout out for the Jurassic Park mug? This is like the best thing. I love Jurassic Park.
Yes. We love it. We love it.
So good.
You know, Dani, thanks again for joining us. I'd love to just kind of kick things off with just, you are different from most other creators that we've had, actually every other creator that we've ever had. You are an artist. So I'd love to just open up on your origin story. Tell us a little bit about how music became part of your life.
Yeah. I am different from your other guests because I'm looking at what you guys talk about and it's like, how much money do you make? What are the collaborations? And I'm like, well, anyways, I grew up around music. My dad was a musician growing up, and I, for some reason, was like too nervous to play music in front of him because the standard was so high, right? So I would write songs in my bedroom by myself, and then I would post some pretty cringy videos on YouTube. Oh my gosh. And I moved to Southern California and just kind of came into my own person, and I was in a reggae band for a little bit. I did it all and moved to LA, eventually moved to Nashville, started co-writing a lot more, and then got reached out to go on The Voice, which was just like a huge, I just didn't expect that coming. I had tried out years before, and then I hit 31. I was like, I'm too old. I'm too old for these shows. So yeah, it was really great. It was awesome.
When you originally tried out for The Voice, what was that process like? And, I know it didn't come for a while, but I'm curious, we talk a lot about like getting casted for this show or that show or how that process goes. I'm curious what that was like for you.
So when I initially auditioned, 10 years ago, I don't even know, probably like 8 years ago, it was all in person. So there was just hundreds of people at this, place, and you go in a room and you sing for 30 seconds and no one's looking at you and they're writing stuff down and they're probably looking up your social media or your YouTube or your followers or whatever. Didn't hear back. And then this last time, one of the talent scouts DM'd me on Instagram, which had happened to me before and it didn't go through. So I didn't have any expectations, and I sent in a couple of videos. I was sick at the time, but I had to meet the deadline. So maybe it worked to my advantage. Maybe I was a little raspier. They were like, "Oh, she got some rasp." Sent in some videos, and it's a long process. It really is. People think you just walk in and you're on those shows, but it's a long process of videos and interviews. Just like Love is Blind and all those other shows, personality and story is important. Like, yes, the voice is about singing, but I know they want someone who's comfortable on camera and who has a good story.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And I co-sign that as well. Like, it is quite the process to get on TV. I remember going through the initial kind of psychological screening that they had.
Long.
It took me a good, like, Chelsea, my wife, said that it took her like 6 to 7 hours to do. It took me about 3 to 4, literally just sitting in my living room, just click. It was just, oh my goodness. So yeah, I know the feeling of that. And I think one thing I should have brought up in the beginning of this was how we actually encountered, right? Because social media brings us together and it's beautiful. So the way that Dani and I connected originally was, as the wannabe musician that that I am, I picked up a guitar on Love is Blind, and I played a song, which honestly I'm very proud of because I freestyled that song and I got a lot of crap for it.
You should be.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Just out of thin air. So I, do this song. It goes on. It comes on TV, and then one day somebody tags me in something or sends something to me and I'm like, oh, this is funny. Let me check it out. I see a guitar and I see, in the description, the name of the song. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. So I click on it and it's Dani doing a cover of the song that I sang, which actually is on this wall. A company sent me like the lyrics. It's really cool. So she did a cover to the real thing and it was amazing. And I thought to myself, and I was like, if I ever decide that I want to record this or do something real with this, I have to work with Dani. And I was like, I'm going to follow her. We're going to figure something out.
We got to do that still. I know. And I feel so bad because your guitar was so out of tune. And so I'm like putting the tuner on in the video and now I'm like, oh man, I didn't think he was gonna see it. It's a catchy song though. It's catchy. I was singing it today. I just want the real thing. It's catchy.
Right here. This is it. This is the trio. Scott, now we've recruited you. You're gonna play the piano. Dani's gonna bring the guitar and I'm gonna do a little rap in the back. Boom. Multi-platinum recorded all the way to the top song.
And we're going on tour with Adele.
Yeah, if this whole business and podcasting doesn't out, we're going out as a trio singing Kwame original songs. I mean, it worked out for Kwame, so joke's on us here. So he got the prize, but
yeah, you know how it goes. So obviously within your experience on The Voice, I'd love to dive in a little bit deeper of that. How was that? How was it being on Team Chance?
Yes.
Yes. And you know what? If you had any artist in history, future, present, past, that you would have loved to have there to be your coach, who would it have been?
Oh my gosh. You know who I just love is JoJo, not JoJo Siwa, the original JoJo. I love JoJo. Miley Cyrus was a coach on there. She would have been great. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I look back on that and my friends are on the season right now. And so I'm watching it with them and you meet these like celebrities, but in my mind, I'm like, that wasn't real. Like I didn't actually meet them. Like it was like a hologram or something. It's crazy. It was crazy, but it was awesome. It was awesome.
JoJo is so talented, by the way. Like, I think it's always funny because, it's funny talking about the out-of-tune guitar. I have such a hard time going to karaoke or anything where I just like, I can't stand just like super off pitch, just cringy, terrible music. And it's funny because I'm like, can that person really sing? Do they actually have those chops? And like Miley's one where like you hear her just cold and she's great, like got great tone, she's got great musicality. But JoJo,
So
like I think she was on some MTV show and she would just bust out these runs. You're just like, yep, that's a gift. She's incredible. But
incredible, and got like screwed over by the industry for so long, and is like finally able to put out her own music. She's so good.
It's crazy because I was thinking about the judges in your season, and like, I mean, I just can't imagine being on the other side of like John Legend, Reba. I mean, like, come on.
It was wild. I mean, you know, they edit the show, but I was standing there for a while, and I really wish they could have sent me like the raw footage because I kind of blacked out. Like I kind of forgot. But my dad, I mean, my dad and my boyfriend were there, and my dad was like, "That was the best day of my life. John said this." I go, "He did?" John Legend was very, very complimentary. He was so nice, and gosh, yeah, they all were. Like I felt so seen. Like I often have times, we all have that imposter syndrome, you know, but I remember watching American Idol when I was younger, and they would have like bad people audition, and I was like, what if I'm one of those people that like thinks they're good? So honestly, that was like finally like, okay, that was the validation I needed. I may move forward with music now.
That is so funny. That would be 100% what I would think if anyone reached out for anything. It's like, we saw you on social media. I was like, this is troll. I am the cringy person that they're going to be like, here's the contrast for all of the real
I know.
artists.
And it's so mean. I don't think they really do that anymore. It's so mean.
You know what? I mean, like, let's be honest with ourselves, right? We love the talent that stepped into American Idol. But we all watched for those moments. You know what I mean?
We did.
We loved
We
did.
did.
The good theatrical, everybody's laughing at it. And you know what? Out of all that, William Hung got a music contract.
That's right.
I don't know how that happened.
She banged.
So you go on. You said you blacked out in that moment. I'm curious, like, as you were kind of going through, you know, that initial performance and, you know, walking away, Team Chance, you know, how did that process go for you? And we, you know, we always talk about, you know, whether it's reality TV, The Voice, other kind of moments like this. When did like the reality set in that things were different? When did kind of this, you know, big change in social, when did all that kind of start becoming real for you?
I'm not supposed to say exact timelines, but we filmed quite a ways before our season aired. And we're prepping for like 6 weeks just for that first audition, which is 90 seconds, not even a full song. So you're there for 6 weeks, rehearsing with the band, wardrobe, vocal coach, which I had a vocal coach for the first time. So I kind of had this mindset of like, whatever happens, I'm going to enjoy this experience, you know, getting to see a stylist, getting to work with a vocal coach. So I had to wait a long time to see what would come of it. Finally, the audition airs, and that's when like the followers started going up, and I was ready for it. So because I had so much time, I recorded my cover of my blind audition song, I Will Survive by Dani Stacy. I put it on Spotify. I had content just like loaded and ready to go. So
yes, there's no such thing as a shameless plug here. Like plug. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we need y'all to go to Spotify right now and download
and
this
my
song.
originals. Yeah.
And all her originals.
Yes.
You know, so like it's really cool seeing these things come to fruition, especially when you've been looking at it, seeing it come down the way. And obviously, you know, you've grown a lot on the social world after The Voice. But, you know, as you've gone through your journey, I know that you've been active on social. You've followed some trends and you've done some things. Like, how big of a role has social played in your music career?
I mean, I think it's huge, and it's annoying sometimes. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I've recently had to place some restrictions on myself. I mean, you were DMing me earlier and I was like, hey, my phone's going to lock me out. I got this app that locks me out until like 7 p.m. or whatever. Because I want to use it as a tool, but I don't want to get stuck on there comparing myself to other people. And even though I'm not one of those people that looks at it and is like, oh man, I'm not as good as them, I think subconsciously it does that to people. I do think it's important. It shows, I look at my Instagram as, a mobile business card. It's my EPK. This is what I sound like live. This is the energy I bring live. This is the people that can come. So I do think it's pretty important.
It's interesting. I think about, there's so many different paths for musicians and recording artists, and coming out of The Voice, I'm curious the transition of, how much support did you get going out and kind of going out on your own and starting to kind of accelerate your career and grow your name, your brand? And like, what was the transition with? Cause like, clearly there's so much horsepower behind the show. I'm just curious, like, how much that carried on, or, how you carried that momentum forward.
I think just saying that you were on the show is a stamp of approval for venues to pay you more or to actually book you, whether they watched it or not. It's just like that little stamp of approval. I also think it's a combination of, yes, the show gave me that, boost in the algorithm or whatever, but I also think it gave me that confidence, and it just lit a fire under my butt, honestly. And it made me think, okay, I can do this. Like, if I can do it under that much pressure, like I can do this anywhere. My hometown was so supportive, like in a way I didn't even realize, I think a lot of people, like, I always say it's like, you need to tell your friends, like, I love you and I'm proud of you. It's so often the people that we're closest to that we forget to tell them how proud we are of them, because we think, oh, they know they're good. They know they're good, but they need to hear it. And I was hearing it and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, this means so much to me. So I forgot what the question was, but.
No, it's all good. We're just talking about transitioning career and, kind of going out on your own post show. And I think it's interesting because we talk a lot about different breaks or asking for what you want, or, not being afraid to leverage what you do have as a way to go out and, help build your audience, connect with individuals, promote your career. And so, I think it's cool to hear how you were able to leverage that experience into going out and transitioning into your career. I'm curious, like on the harder side, it's got to be difficult too, like, because you're coming off this high. And I just feel like, the good and the bad. There's like, I had this really big moment. I was selected. I was on this team. I had these celebrities around me. I had so much production, all these coaches. And then you come off and you still have a lot of attention, but then there's a void of some of these things. I'm like, how did that, like, I can't even imagine like the emotional roller coaster and the drain that would cause.
100%. And I experienced it twice, right? I experienced when they treat you like you're amazing, you're the best thing in the world, and then you're off the show and they don't talk to you anymore, unless they need you to sign something like a release or whatever. And I mentally prepared myself for that as much as I could. My expectations going in were as low as they could be, while also trying to believe in myself. You talk about affirmations. I had written affirmations all over my wall, but I also had to tell myself, this doesn't define you, right? So when I got kicked off the show, it was like a delayed reaction. I would say like a week or two later, I was like, oh man, I'm sad. But also like my friends are still there. Like they're still filming, like I'm missing out on all this fun. And then 6 months later, the show airs and I have people messaging me like, oh man, that was messed up. And they're trying to make you feel good. But in a way, I'm just like, this isn't helping. Like, tell me I'm still going to be okay. Yeah, it is a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and you just got to keep moving. I just try to I have to always have like something to look forward to. Otherwise I'll lose my mind.
So I think it's a great segue. What are you excited about? What is kind of the most inspiring thing at the moment? Like what keeps you going?
I have been writing a lot of songs. I have a lot of songs already written that I was planning to record and then like accidentally went on tour. Just the shows kept coming. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. So right now I'm just trying to shift and record these songs, get them out, plan some shows for 2025, try and be a little bit more strategic. I'm not great at that, but I'm working on it.
You know, when you think about the support that you got from, you know, the outpour from people that you know, from your family, from your community, from your, you know, hometown, was there anybody that DM'd or commented or something that had you like kind of just, you know, that moment, right? Because I know, like, for me, going through my experience, I had some DMs from people that I was like, oh my gosh, this person's talking to me. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think being active and being in this, you know, music community and being in the artist community, I feel like the voice is a pretty big deal. Right. And so did you have anybody reach out to you that was like, wow?
I don't know why. I almost forgot, but this is my biggest flex ever. Jennifer Coolidge followed me. Jennifer Coolidge, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Makes you want a hot dog real bad. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
White Lotus, right?
White Lotus, yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, and I love her. And I was like, I'm gonna DM her, and I was just like, hey, love you. And she said, she said something like, you're so talented. I just heard it in her voice. You make an already good song even better. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just left it there. I was like, I'm never going to message her again. I'm just going to I need to frame it. I told myself I need to print it out and frame it because she's a legend. Oh, I love her.
That's freaking awesome. And so now I think, you know, we can get to a little bit more of the social side of things. You know, it's funny, like you said, we've talked to a lot of very, very social media focused people, but you know, your audience is growing now. And so I'd love to dive into a little bit of how that's impacted you. And, you know, if you've gotten an opportunity to do anything cool through social media, whether somebody sent you something cool or, you know, you made a little bit of money on it, like anything within that direction, how has social media impacted you in terms of like your daily life?
I think the biggest thing is my music not falling on deaf ears is a great feeling. That's a great feeling. I had some people, like mostly just gifts, like people from my hometown, like the yarn lady, she sent me some gifts. So like some packages like that. I work for this company called Songfinch, and have you heard of it?
Yeah. It's like custom songs, and they like write. It's funny. I have like the one from the ad, and it's like we met, and like I used your dad's ring, and yeah, it's pretty cute.
Yeah, like people order custom songs, and I've worked for them for a long time, and I mean they're the reason that I was able to quit my serving job. It was great income for me, and it'll be birthdays, or sometimes it's an engagement, sometimes it's a funeral. So it's like, you know, it's important. But they flew me out to Chicago to do some content with them. So I would say that was kind of a collaboration, and it was amazing. And I love them so much. Like I have worked for them for years, and to finally meet the people behind it, it was so much fun. That's really that's a collaboration. Oh, Songhouse. I've done videos with Songhouse, which have been so awesome. Just more views, more people getting to know my music.
Yeah.
I think it's super cool, especially that Songfinch collaboration. It's funny. So I'm gonna put myself out there, but I have like a funny thing. Like if I'm going to like a family wedding or a funeral or something, like way I process some things is through music, and I'll just like bum around the guitar. And I've written a whole bunch of songs for random things, and I never play them for anyone, but it's like a way. I'm always like, I wonder if I played this song for them, like, would it be meaningful? Like we're at my sister-in-law's wedding, and they're like, they're crazy. They went out in the middle of the woods. They're living on the side of a mountain together. They like went on this crazy journey. They did life. They're like building a whole future. You can imagine that song, right?
Yeah.
It's like a whole love story. And like the song's easy with the help of ChatGPT, but nonetheless. But I have this like whole song, and I'm like, I should play it for them. I'm like, no, it's their day. I don't want to do it. But it's like, it's also a way for you to like process that moment. But I love like you writing those songs for others who maybe like don't have that, but people connect through music and they want to tell their story. They want to be able to share their affection through music. And it's like, those are the things where like sometimes services, social media, products, like they just hit different and they're able to connect with people on a very different level. So I imagine for you, beyond the income, like it is pretty cool to be a part of someone's story, like whether it's proposal or processing, loss or whatever. It's a pretty cool mission. That's also, pretty compelling business. So.
I mean, I know it's a great idea. First off, you should play them those songs. It's meaningful to people. I can't tell you how many times I've had songs and I think I'm not going to share it, and then I do, and I'm so glad that I did. I mean, it means a lot to people that you wrote about, their experience. But yeah, it feels good to be doing something that is not, and no hate on serving. I may have to go back at some point, but it's not bringing someone like a side of fries. It's like actually impacting someone in a meaningful way. Like it feels good.
That's awesome. I feel like my like photo album or video album is going to be like an Emily Dickinson thing where they're like, oh, he wrote all these songs and it's like locked up in some random video recording, but they'll all be trash. Emily Dickinson was an amazing poet, but nonetheless, I digress. Far away from that.
I'm sure they're not trash.
Now, it's funny, like back in the day. So not a lot of people know this. But back in the day, my old college roommate, who is, one of my closest friends now, his name's Matt. We had a 2-man band, right, called Miller Hall, because Miller Hall was the hall that we lived in college.
I like that.
Yeah, right. Isn't that a suave name?
It's a good name. It's a good name.
Yeah, we gotta I gotta like trademark it and never let it go. But we used to play the guitar in like our stairwell and record a bunch of stuff and put it on Facebook back in the day. And so throughout that time, like we were so sure we were going to make it, And, like, we wrote this song. So speaking of music that was written and may never see the world or may see the world, this is the one song that I have on iTunes somewhere. It's a song called Hollywood Dreamin'. I'm finding that.
I'm finding Play it.
Oh man, I'm going to find that.
So that's my one little musical thing. It may never see, it's out there, but I wonder how many people have actually found it. But all in all, obviously music draws a lot of inspiration and creativity. Do you have any artists that you would say like inspire you the most? Who's your idol?
I don't have just one. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you who I like and who I'm inspired by. I love Alan Stone dearly.
Oh,
so good. And like, is my music like his? Not really. Have I tried? Sure. I love James Taylor. Chris Stapleton. And growing up, I listened to a lot of like Destiny's Child. I love Music Soul Child. Dixie Chicks. It's all over the place. I don't have just one. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. How about this? We have a question that we will ask you later about brands that you want to collaborate with, but use this as the moment for you, right? We post this on our later social channel. So there's an off chance that this person might see it. If someone were to reach out to you right now and say, hey, I want to do a cover or a collaboration song with you, what artist would that be?
Alan Stone. I've had it. What was that?
I was gonna say, what song would you want to do with Alan?
We're writing an original, a brand new one. Oh. Or Unaware is obviously so good, or Unaware Give You Blue.
Yeah.
He does a cover of Sex and Candy, and I just totally ripped it off, and I played it every show. I just love him. I think he would be great. I've actually had open for him on my whiteboard for years. I also had Coachella, and then COVID happened. So God was like, if you can't do Coachella, no one is.
So we're gonna get like a Danny Marcy Playground, Alan Stone like festival collab track.
That would be tight.
I got recently into this. I don't know if you know Daniel Caesar. He's got the song like Best Part, and then Alan Stone covers it. And I discovered, it's so freaking good. And then Jacob Collier plays it with him. It's good.
I need to check that out. That's funny. For my battle on The Voice, we sang Best Part. And so it's just a sign.
Yeah, I love that tune. It's so
good.
Okay, karaoke songs
groove.
right now. I want to know both of yours. I'll give you some time to think, Danny. Scott, what's your karaoke song?
It's funny because there's like what you want to sing and what you should sing. Because what I want to sing is like not going to get the crowd, or like not the crowd, but like there's a vibe at like a bar. You want to keep it high energy. And I'm like, at home, I'm like putting on YouTube karaoke. I'm singing like Ordinary People by John Legend, or Best Part, or like Chris Stapleton or something. But I'm like, that's one, I'm not going to do Chris Stapleton runs in public because that's just asking for it. And then like, who wants to sing Ordinary People at a bar when you're like trying? Yeah, like that's not it. So
I think it would hit. I think it would hit.
So Uncle Cracker's version of like Give Me the Beat Boys. Well, I don't even know what that song is.
Yes.
But it's like the like Southern soul-y, gravelly voice. People can get behind it, sing along kind of tune. I had like a moment where we went through like this whole singing Usher and but I probably shouldn't. I can't hang in that category. So something classic rock.
I love
Usher.
Okay,
and
Danny? I will 100% kill the vibe at karaoke, and I will do I Can't Make You Love Me, or I'll do Creep, or if I'm super drunk, I will do Goodbye Earl by Dixie Chicks.
All right. I can dig that. Yeah, it definitely, the mood does definitely, settle. If I'm at a piano bar, I don't care about the mood. I'm doing Ordinary People.
It's for you. Right. It's for you in your heart.
Yes. That's like when I was in college, anytime we would do a karaoke night, that was a song that I would sing. But, if there was a vibe entailed and maybe we're at a bar, it's more of a divey, we've got beers in our hands, or Four Locos, who knows? I would say probably either I Write Sins, Not Tragedies.
Oh, so good.
Incredible song. Or Sugar, We're Going Down Swinging.
Oh, those are good ones, and that's getting everybody in on it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So hey, I'm calling it. Look, whether we make a top charting song or we just hit up a karaoke night, we gotta make the trio happen.
I'm down.
It's funny. Man. I feel like we're very musically aligned. Like I have an unhealthy love of I Can't Make You Love Me. And it's funny because whether it's like Bonnie Raitt, Teddy Swims, Bon Iver, like give me every version and I'm here for it. It's such a good tune.
I think it's maybe like the best song ever written. Like it's so beautiful. It's so good.
Yeah. That's awesome. So as we get closer to the tail end of this conversation, we've had such beautiful talk about music, and I love that so much. I think when you combine, your music and your voice and your ability to reach the world, it's just a beautiful trifecta, much like us. But I would say, when you think about the possibilities and the partnerships that you may land at some point. You've done some cool musical partnerships, but you have to have, maybe an aspirational brand out there that you think to yourself like, wow, I use this all the time, or like, I think it's the coolest. Do you have an aspirational brand that if they approach you and they said, hey, we love your Instagram and we want to work with you, who would that be?
Obviously, like some music gear, some recording gear. I need some in-ears. I need some nice in-ears. But I love Hip Camp. Have you guys heard of Hip Camp?
I have not.
It's like Airbnb, but it's for camping. And it's either like a campsite where you pop up a tent or with the trailer. So when I filmed The Voice, me and my boyfriend took our trailer all the way from Tennessee to California, and we stayed at Hip Camp locations. And it's people who rent out their property. And sometimes it has hookups, sometimes it doesn't. It's the price is based on what they offer. But it's the most beautiful places, like right on the water sometimes. And it's like quite often like you are the only person there, or maybe there's like a couple others. So Hip Camp, I would love. I did email them, so maybe they'll get back to me.
That's so funny. I feel like I'm going to go down a Hip Camp rabbit hole this weekend, like looking at all these locations. That sounds
cool.
like such a cool idea.
It's great.
Imagine all the apps out there that we don't know. Like this is so new to me, and this sounds like such a cool idea.
I'm like, we need to get some influencers promoting Hip Camp immediately.
Yes, yes. It's so great.
Hip Camp, hit us up, okay? We need everybody to know about Hip Camp. Oh, man. But with that being said, obviously a brand that you want to work with, an aspirational brand, in terms of the way that you look at your content, you're promoting your music, and it is who you are, and it is your voice, no pun intended. But, if you had a message that you wanted to share with the world through the content that they see or through the music that you put out into the world, what do you think that is, that reflection of your soul?
Believe in yourself. And isn't that profound? Has anyone ever said that before?
I think this is the first
time. I worked really hard for a really long time, and it's really hard to see that it's worth it. And it wasn't until this last year or two that I think, okay, I was prepared for the opportunities that were given to me because of all the hard work that I put in. So pay your dues, man. It don't happen overnight.
I love that. I think it's a great message for folks to hear. And I think, Kwame and I talk about it all the time. And with a ton of the creators that are on, success doesn't just happen overnight. And even with, some lucky breaks, a lot of times those come because of hard work. Like you said, I think it's perfect. You tried out, you applied, you kept doing your thing, you didn't give up, and you came back around, and you had this kind of launch pad to help accelerate your career and get your music out to the world. So I think it's really positive for folks. And we talk a lot of the time, the successful are those who don't give up. And there's a lot of people who are smart. There are a lot of people who are talented. But I find it's rare the people who just will never give up. And for whatever reason, the love, the passion, the pursuit, whatever motivates them. But I think more people need to hear that. And it's interesting because it can be contrary to some of the narratives today around balance. And I think it's really important to, seek a really meaningful life that has all the right elements in it, but also don't be afraid to go out and work to go achieve what your dreams are and go pursue your passion, and find people who want to be on that journey with you and are willing to go to Hip Camp for 6 weeks while you're getting ready to go on a TV show. So,
oh my gosh, that poor man. Yeah, it's true. You need people that support you, and that doesn't mean you put them through the ringer for you to achieve your dreams. You got to support their dreams too, Yeah.
I love that.
Well, that's amazing. Well, you know what? A couple things that I wanted to mention before we leave is that when I first reached out to Dani,
my cat is meowing. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good.
Can you hear it?
We'll add it to the audio. No, okay. we can't. But
okay.
I wish we could, honestly. But what I said to Dani was, you know what? Hopefully, there's somebody who sees this, who is at least partially in charge of Bonnaroo. Because hopefully we can get Dani to Bonnaroo, or if not Bonnaroo, then maybe Coachella, right?
I guess. I'm just kidding.
But no, Dani, you have an incredible future in front of you. It's not just because you're a great musician. I just think you're an awesome person as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure. You have so much positivity to share with the world, and we hope that the world continues to reward you with more positivity right back.
And to you too, I want to say I appreciate you and just the little things that you've done to try and help me. Like, I know that you probably do that for a lot of people in your life, and I think it's wonderful. And I wish you guys all the success. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. If people want to find you, where's the best place to find your music and come see you?
Dani Stacy, DANI STACY. My Instagram is what I use most. Dani_Stacy. And I'll post whenever I'm playing. We got some in the works, so I'll let you know.
So if you're in New York upcoming or Nashville, I think you might be able to find Dani. So go check out a show, go check out our Instagram, go check out our website, and keep the love coming. We're so glad you came on. And until we see you on the next one, thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, y'all.
you.